Zeidoktor here, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is going to be dedicated to Attack on Titan, Chapter 87, Borderline. And as promised in the Tuesday videos, this one will, since this one was out but not in English yet, and it only came out like late yesterday, I'm getting recording in now on Wednesday, the day after. This chapter opens with the aftermath of Zeke selling out pretty much everybody, and Grissa realizing the fact that he was pretty much doing the exact same thing his father had tried to do to him, basically, essentially indoctrinate his child. And and we see like clips of him and Dina basically like telling him everything those Marley people say is wrong. You need to follow their teaching better than anybody. We're going to get back at them for the way that they disgraced us. And in that case, Grissa realized that it's no wonder that Zeke abandoned his parents, who had willingly exposed their own child to danger, and chose the safety of his grandparents offered, in exchange for handing over his foolish parents to Marley. And here, real quick digression, we see Zeke with Grissa's parents and one other guy who I don't think we've seen yet. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So I'm wondering if that's supposed to be like Grissa's brother, or like another doctor he worked with, or something. Cut to Grissa being interrogated / tortured to the point that they're chopping fingers off of him, trying to figure out, demanding to know who the owl is, like their source on the inside, which fortunately Grissa does not actually know. Like meanwhile the man is in charge of the interrogation, just wondering like if they've gotten anything at the rank and file, or commenting on how frightening it is that there's actually a member of the Eldian within their own ranks, someone passing down information to the restorationists, and even sending little kids acting as spies as they became Marley warriors, even having a plan to steal the founding Titan from the island of Paradis and undermine Marley. And even as to bring up the founding Titan as a way to call up support and defection from Marley's enemy nation to the east. We would have been in danger if his kid hadn't informed on him. At this point, it's apparently time for sentencing, as it's time for a boat ride to go into what's called Utopia. As I'm going to be doing that a few times, I think. Grissa is being taken away. He's thinking to himself how he had seen the face of the lead interrogator once before, and during the boat ride desperately tried to search for where that had been. Meanwhile, the blindfold is removed once he's actually on the wall, or actually on the wall, the border of Paradis. It's a penal colony for Eldian traders, the borderline to Utopia, says the interrogator. You're going to be serving a life sentence here for the crime of treason, and you'll be serving as a mindless Titan. You'll sense humans, chase humans, eat humans. That's all you'll be doing until the day you die. But the problem is that there's almost no way to die. And Grissa realizing that he has met this guy before. And he actually remembers that it was from when he was a child. So the guy's like, so you do remember. And Grissa declares wonders how he could ever forget that day. Another blindfolded prisoner is brought in. He's like basically pleading, not a Titan, no, not a Titan. And he hears Grissa call out to him. He's like, what's going on? Why would Zeke inform on this? And as his blindfold's removed, like he starts calling out Grissa on the fact that Zeke pretty much sold out his own parents, and maybe Grissa's the one that needs to be blamed here. Like, never did I think it was a mistake to entrust you with everything. The restorationist Dina too. But all Grissa has to say for himself is that he's sorry. And apparently the guy in charge of this whole thing, not the interrogator, but a whole different guy, is like, looks like we have a live one here, and just alright, you're free to go, and just kicks him down into the wall. Fortunately, the actual fall doesn't hurt him, or at least not seriously, because they put up sand dunes with the express purpose of avoiding damage from the fall, even a 30+ meter one. And he calls out, run straight north, you'll make it to the wall if you're lucky. And the leader, Sergeant Major Gross, is asked by a guy who's been here for the first time that what's going on. Like, basically, he explains that Titans don't come close to the ocean. But by doing that, by kicking a guy down first, he'll attract the Titans that are about to be created and get them away from the wall. Makes their job easier. Like, he'll be eaten in no time anyway. Isn't that right, Kruger? And Kruger's the lead interrogator there. later page makes me let me think his name was Gross Fell, but maybe I had that mistaken somewhere. And Kruger and he realizes that the first man, what was his name again? Sorry, Gross. Oh, okay, Gross. That's the Gross is the leader. Which, yeah, he is. I don't even need to worry about a nickname for this one. He's like the name says it all. So Gross pretty much just like claps his hand and gets it all going. Like everybody there is injected with the Titan serum and thrown over the bridge. And Grissa watches they all turn into Titans and start chasing after the first guy that got kicked down. He tries to call out to them, telling them that's their friend, but they're not interested. Like Gross tells Kruger to go and turn Grissa into a Titan as well, but Kruger says he still wants to interrogate him. Like, you go ahead. Yeah, okay, don't work yourself too hard, alright? And the last one is a woman. What a waste, if only she didn't have the devil's blood in her. And as they're moving her blindfold, realizing that it's Dina, like Grissa's wife. This is a shock to Grissa because during interrogation he actually did tell them all about her, in the hopes that it would spare her life because as someone of royal blood she might actually be useful to them. But Kruger slams him down and Grissa realizes that they don't know about any of that because Kruger kept it quiet. He covered it up. And as they're getting ready to inject Dina, like she swears that no matter what she becomes, she will find Grissa. And then as Gross kicks her down, like, sounds good. You'd have a nice life together as Titans. And as she turns into a Titan, we see this pretty much where Aaron like wakes up from what he's been seeing. He's been seeing these memories himself, but it turns out that the very Titan Dina transformed into is what we would call the Smiling Titan, the one that ate Aaron's mother at the beginning of the series. Turning that confrontation into a, if you don't mind a bit of black humor, a major case of the misses and the X. At this point, though, Aaron wakes up screaming and realizes that he's in a jail cell, but not sure why. Armin explains that yes, they're in a jail cell, they're in a disciplinary unit serving time for violating military law. Mikasa asks if Aaron had a nightmare, and it's like, and Armin seems to be asking I'm not quite sure, like, did you just say, why have I been put here? And I guess something about the turn of phrase strikes them as odd, because Mikasa confirms it, and Aaron explains that he feels like he was in the longest dream, but then realizes that it wasn't a dream, it was a memory. He was connected to his father's memories, which means that everything in that book they read was true after all. And he also realized that the Titan, that the Smiling Titan, was actually none other than Dina, his wife, his first wife. Back in the memory, the Smiling Titan just kind of saunters off, and Gross taunts Grissa about the fact that she's not paying attention to him. I guess she wanted the other guy after all. And Grissa realizes that this man, Gross, is the man who, when he was a boy, basically killed his 8-year-old sister. Like, fed his sister to the dogs. That was you, wasn't it? Yeah. Gross ignores him, but brings over one last prisoner, and says he'll handle him. He says it's his time to turn to have some fun. Tells a new guy that it's his turn to have some fun, so try not to bring it up too much. Here we go. Okay. I think the scene here kind of just it's got some clarity for me. Like there's like a little offhand speech called like Eldine or not to I think he's putting his hands on 8-year-old girls. And I realize these are the rank and file soldiers kind of commenting on Gross here. They're the ones who are talking about it. The way that was placed kind of threw me off for a bit there. So as Gross takes a drag from some cigarettes, he double checks that Kruger is done interrogating him. And it turns out he's not going to turn Grissa into a Titan after all. He's going to take the last prisoner, turn him into a Titan, and make him eat Grissa. And he encourages Grissa to hold out as long as he can, make it interesting. That makes Grissa wonder, what the hell is with this guy? Like, why are you doing this? And we get we pretty much get like a lengthy monologue as he injects the guy with the last guy with the Titan serum. Like, because it's fun. Why else? It's fun watching humans get beaten by monsters. Sure, some people might not want to see that, but people want to see brutality. Peaceful for dozens of years since we were freed from Eldian rule, right? That's great and all, it must make it feel like something is lacking. Maybe what you'd call the feeling of being alive. You barely get it anymore these days. I don't know how many people out there feel that every day could be their last, but that's supposed to be the normal state of mind for any living creature. You're seen as strange if you think that way when you live in a society that takes peace for granted. Not me. We all die, and he's like calmly talking about this as he's injecting the guy. By the way, we all die, but I'm prepared to accept that reality when my day comes, because that's because the faith of the truth, the faith, blah, blah. And that's because I face the truth of this cruel world and seek to better understand it. Of course, it's important to have fun while you learn. And you know, it was educational when I fed your little sister to my son's dogs too. They grew up to be fine young men thanks to that. And Gris wonders how he cannot feel any pain or guilt about this. I understand what you want to say. I just Titans at the thought of my sons meeting the same fate. It's not as if they did anything wrong after all. And Aaron points out that his little sister only ever wanted to see the blimp, the dream of riding it to somewhere far away. And Gross is like, yeah, poor thing. If only she wasn't an alien. And he points down at the newly formed Titan, who's got more anime-esque eyes than normal. So I'm kind of thinking of calling him the Bug-Eye Titan if we ever see him again. And he pretty much says that all it takes is for aliens' bodies to absorb some Titan spinal fluid, and you get turned into giant monsters. And you think you can call yourselves just as human as us? And apparently, kind of confirming the thought I had, the Gross goes on to explain that the subject of Ymir from the Eldian Empire are the only creatures in the world like that. Nice sort of nightmare that these beasts and humans were allowed to multiply in large numbers. And he pretty much goes on all of humanity wants the same thing, that for every last Eldian to be eliminated from the world. He doesn't even consider the Eldians to be human. Is basically the gist of his speech. They're just vermin to be eradicated. Does my heart not hurt? How could it? Don't make it sound like I'm killing humans. And Grissa tries to tell their history is a lie, that their ancestor Ymir used the power of the Titans to cultivate the wasteland, build the roads, construct bridges between mountains, and brought wealth to the people of the continents. Gross pretty much is not impressed. Marley's a storytelling history. Yeah, I get it. You have a grand history, right? Why don't you talk to your friend down there about it? He tries to sub Grissa off, and then they start struggling. Gross I want to see you get eaten by that Titan. Just promise me you won't die some hackneyed old death, okay? And Gris is pretty much furious about it. But before he gets too far, Kruger actually shoves Gross off the wall, and Gross just goes flying, and he pretty much gets the Bug-Eye. He looks up, sees the Bug-Eye Titan kind of bending over, looking at him, hey there. And things go predictably and when human is unexpectedly faced with a Titan, it goes as expected here, and the Bug-Eye Titan eats his face. Meanwhile, Kruger reveals that he is the owl. And the rank and file down below who left the wall earlier are hearing what I presume to be Sergeant Major Grossfeld's screaming. While Kruger's watch and learn, Grissa. This is how you use the power of the Titans. At that point, he cuts open his hand, transforms into what looks to be the Rogue Titan, Aaron's Titan, and does a backbreaker on the ship. Just puts over soldiers and boom. And that's where the chapter ends. And I was thinking to myself, I actually did an earlier recording just so I kind of messed it up a little bit, stumbling a little more than I wanted to. And I'm realizing now I'm just getting my names backwards, thinking Grossfeld was the owl. But in any case, this question does more for world building and answering questions than anything. I think we're kind of getting a good idea of where the narrative's going to go from here, because obviously Kruger's not going to be the Rogue Titan forever. He's going to presumably let himself be eaten by Grissa. At which point he'll get the Rogue Titan powers. He'll go on, live in the wall, meet with Aaron's mother, and yada yada yada. One thing that I was kind of looking at some stuff earlier before I did the retake on this, and it points out that in one of the earlier chapters, I forget which one it was right offhand, but there was the one where Keith was having where we learned Keith was having his flashback. And apparently Grissa asked, "You're not fighting them, are you?" At which point, which now that we know all this, does come with a whole new meaning. I'm trying to see if I can find that chapter here right now. But Crunchyroll doesn't title them, so it's hard to really say for sure. If you can actually find the exact reference here, but in any case, flip this here. There we go. I'm gonna kind of pull it up and just kind of look at it while I'm talking about everything else. In the meantime, like I said, it also kind of brings the whole issue with Dina being a Titan into like a very sad full circle tragedy situation. Because Grissa's first wife was turned into a Titan who would go on to to devour Grissa's second wife, and the Smiling Titan would go on to be killed by his son. Like betrayed by one son, killed by the other. It's like, dang. Gotta feel sorry for Dina at that point. With everything else going on. And I will confess there is a bit of sympathy for Zeke for me on this. Like, just because, like, this kid's being told by his parents that he's gonna become a monster and he's gonna be destroy the empire and do all this, and like he freaks out and goes to his grandparents for support, and he turns one in for the sake of the other. So can't entirely blame him, but at the same time, I don't. It seems that he's definitely going to come to a head here. The question is, does he know the history? Does he believe the history? Does he care about the history? Whatever happens, it's going to be a big thing between him and Eren when they come face to face, because this does. I mean, and I wonder what everyone else is going to do when Eren reveals that the Bestial Titan is his half brother. So. This is turning into a pretty big thing on this now. Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's any other points I want to bring up on this. It's actually really sad that Zolang just really does just kick up the tragedy element of the whole series. I think it just brings everything together in that big way. I'm trying to think of. I do like the fact that at the very least, Gross got eaten. He fed his sister to the dogs. Grissa's sister to the dogs, and now he gets fed to a Titan. So at least we can enjoy the karma off of that, I think. I am curious to see just what'll happen to Kruger. Like, will he pretty much destroy everything at the ship, everything at the wall, and then just let Grissa take him? Or is something else going to happen, I wonder? And will they go together, for example? On the other, as far as stuff I think I've talked about before, this does kind of confirm one thing I've wondered, which is that this seems to be that only the Eldians have the ability to turn into a Titan. I mean, at least you're going to go by what Gross says. Only the Eldians can turn into Titans by taking in the Titan spinal fluid. So that does explain at least why they're allowing children, why they were recruiting kids and soldiers in the first place. If they really want to bring the Titans back together. What I wonder now, though, is like I said, I had been kind of mixed up about this when the whole thing was being revealed about Grissa having been a Titan shifter before he ate the Krista, I think it was. No, Historia's sister. I don't think Krista was name. I think I'm mistaken that for Historia's alias. Regardless, let's see here. Yeah, regardless, though, like I said, one thing I wondered about since the whole reveal about how there are only so many Titans have come into play, and the knowledge that there can be a combination of Titan powers, since we know Eren has both the Rogue Titan and what I believe we can safely call either the Founding Titan or the Coordinate. I mean, since we know Eren has two of those, I mean, is there going to be some point in the future where somebody wants to put all the Titans together back into one individual? And if so, what's going to happen then? I almost wonder if that's going to somehow maybe awaken the original Ymir Fritz in some way. If the Titans are her split into 9 pieces, because I can't recall if that was part of the original lore that they had on this. Top of my head. Of course, that's assuming our Ymir isn't Ymir Fritz, which I don't think is very likely. But at the same time, it's definitely a weird possibility to keep in mind. And this series has enough twists that I could believe it. It's possible. But as things currently stand, we're kind of moving along with this memory thing. like I said, obviously the next chapter is going to be the immediate aftermath of this. And it's interesting to see that we are actually seeing this, like Aaron is actually experiencing all this. He's actually seeing the memories, because that was something I think that was supposed to have happened with the founding Titan, the coordinate, but couldn't because Aaron wasn't of the same bloodline. But Grissa and Aaron are of the same bloodline, so I think he's actually able to at least get to Grissa's memories. That seems to be the link we're kind of seeing right here. Right. Right. So I think I got the heavier talking points. I said, if there's something I've missed or something you want to bring up that I haven't already talked about, like I said, be sure to say something in comments. I'll be sure to try and comment back and get my own view on there, or see what else there's any else I can throw out there as it comes to me. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and call the review here. So for reference, this has been the typical manga review for Attack on Titan, Chapter 87, Borderline. I think next week we'll just have Hero Academia for manga. But either way, until then, have a good time, and I'll see you next chapter. Bye bye.